So what's your background? What have you done previously? And obviously IT works. What do you guys really focus on?
My story's a bit of a twist, not twisted, but a bit of a random one. So I finished my A levels and I went to do a undergraduate degree in geography. I wanted to go and do hazard mitigation, tsunami early warning systems, that sort of thing. I had a bit of a dodgy time at university. Obviously, COVID didn't help, and I just kind of lost my love for the topic, which was sad. It was, what I'd wanted to do for 6 years. After that, I came home and decided to do a law conversion, which is a bit of a change. So I did my master's in that, obviously qualified, and went to work in a solicitor's firm for a year and a half. And it just wasn't the environment for me. I'm a very social person. I like to speak to people, as Gary will well know. And yeah, I like that human contact, and it was just not what I expected. So I stuck with it for a year and a half and just realised that I didn't want to be doing that for the rest of my life. And that's when I found IT work. So I had a couple of friends that were in recruitment and just said, you like to talk. You should go into this. And I tried it and I got put on the Epicor patch, the only person on that one in IT Works. And yeah, I'm molded quite well with the system, with the market, the people in it. And I absolutely love it. So I'm still here, a year and a half later. So you're not going to get rid of me, luckily.
That's the thing.
IT Works wise, so we've been around for a while, 24 years. We work a range of different markets, so not just Epicor, IFS, NetSuite, and our kind of key focus is to connect experts to companies, make sure that everything is nice and flowy, and speed up processes, make sure that everything fits nicely at the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And how does the Epicor market compare to some of those other markets that IT Works are in?
Yeah, sometimes it's quite difficult to compare. Epicor is very much small to medium businesses. IFS is huge, absolutely massive. Some of the companies that the lads downstairs work with, just a bit mental to look at. And then you've got NetSuite, who's very like up and coming, trendy, your Gymshark, all that sort of stuff on, all the big clothing companies. Me personally, I love Epicor. I think the people in it, manufacturing, it's just something new every single day. I guess in comparison, I'd say we probably have different rates, similar jobs, still technical consultants, still finance consultants, but obviously it's a niche market. The IFS and NetSuite is an extremely saturated market. So I think one of the big differences would be changing day rates and changing salaries, things like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned about Epicor skills. A lot of Epicor skill sets we kind of see go back and forth between NetSuite and Epicor, which is interesting, and obviously I kind of expected similar stuff, but not quite the same.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of the process, then, so I've worked with you and I kind of know it myself, but from someone that doesn't know, what's the process from recruitment to placement? If I phone you up and say I want some finance resource, I need it right now, what do you do? How does it work?
Yeah, we are quite, I don't want to say the word cutthroat when it comes, but we are. We triage everything. I think from our point of view, we can work with most clients, most candidates, but from a working perspective, I have to sit there and I will go through every single detail of a role with a client, as I've probably done with you multiple times in the past. If it's contract, making sure that all the day rates are correct, time on site, making sure that a candidate will actually want to do the role. Similar in permanent, checking the package, making sure that it's amenable to the candidates. At that point, we will grade it. So we go from kind of like an A to a D. Everything that I just mentioned will be dependent on that, how easy the client is to work with, how easy the actual role will be. If it's a really, really niche integration, it's probably going to be about a C, until we can push it up. After that, we'll go out to market. One of the benefits to IT Works is because of our market coverage, it won't kind of be plastered all over, LinkedIn or Indeed, anything like that. We kind of like to do it internally. So the candidates that you get through, are going to be brilliant and are going to fit the role really well. We'll then come back to the client, do CV presentation. So we'll sit on a call, go through the candidates and kind of explain from our point of view why we think that they are a good candidate and why we think that they will fit the company. There's no point just slapping a candidate in if you're not going to get on with them, or the personalities, the skill sets don't fit. At that point, it's very much whichever ones you want to take forward, I'll prep them, sit on a Teams call with them or in person, go through everything, put them through to interview, and then do it all again for second stage, and then offer and delivery.
Perfect. And what's the success rate on that?
I was actually speaking about this downstairs before. One of the things, obviously, I mentioned before is the triaging. So we don't work roles that we won't be able to fill. So if I was to work every single role, it'd probably be quite a low percentage. But looking back on my stats from last year, it was 80% of roles that I put onto the system and actively resourced for, I had placed. And it's actually got better this year. I've got better at knowing when to kill or cure a role, knowing when it's more of an education piece. Sometimes clients will say, I need someone with 10 years of experience, all these different technical skills, and I need them 40,000. Well, now I know that's not attainable. So it's knowing when to stop the process and kind of let the client know that there are people out there who might have, A to B, but just not C and D, and kind of showing them where that line sits and how to find the best candidate for them.
Yeah. Especially when budgets are at play, you've got to be realistic on what you can get for the budget that you've got. So that makes perfect sense.
Definitely.
Do you have any kind of placements that stand out as one of your best placements? That's one that you're kind of really proud of?
I do, yeah.
Material?
I think there's a few to me that are quite, I won't say personal. I think the first ever placement that I did, I still go out for coffee with the candidate. He literally works just down the road, and that was a lovely one because we genuinely got on. And most of the time, when you've got a candidate that is incredible at what they do and just kind of needs a bit of a limelight shone on them. That was very much that placement. And then actually the most recent one that I've done with a company again near here, the candidate had just been made redundant and was struggling. She just wasn't finding a company that was kind of understanding her and understanding her skill set. And I knew a hiring manager who was kind of looking, kind of not. I just said to him, just speak to her, just have a conversation with her. Anyway, 2 weeks later, she started, which was lovely and amazing. And that for me was a big one because obviously I think, being able to pluck someone and say, you will suit this role, I think that was definitely visible in that one. And yeah, I really got on with the hiring manager as well. So that was brilliant. Great process.
Yeah, absolutely. Easiest and best way to do it, I'm sure. Just generally speaking, all these people that you kind of currently placing, how has the market changed in terms of people's expectation and working remotely and working on site? What's the balance now that you find on that? Because we obviously found that it works quite well in both scenarios. How do you find it, and what's the market really expecting at this moment in time?
I think definitely since COVID, it's changed. I think companies are definitely putting more of a shift back onto on-site work. A lot of the candidates are now used to, if they can work from home, they will do. There is a happy medium in all of it. A lot of the time we kind of see, 2 days on site, 3 days from home, or kind of flipping and changing. With your contract, you'll know just as well as I, it can be anywhere between 5 days a week to once every 6 months. It's obviously dependent on the contractor, how much time they have available for on site. We're finding at the moment contractors are a lot more open to working on site. I think after not having those touch points since before COVID, really, a lot of them are enjoying actually speaking to people face to face. Similarly with your permanent positions, I do, in my opinion, it might not be market wide. I think there is a much larger shift on-site working, which I don't think is a bad thing. But that's just my opinion, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is a bit of a funny one, isn't it? Because some stuff, I like working remote for some stuff, but only when it's specific stuff that I know I need to kind of focus and get stuck into and not be distracted. But you can never beat the actual fact of being in with the team and having that camaraderie and working closer with your colleagues than you would normally. So I think it is. I think you're right. It's an absolute balance to get that right.
Yeah, I think for a lot of things as well, I was quite literally speaking to a candidate about this last night. And she was saying sometimes in IT you feel like you're just shoved in a bit of a broom closet and left there. And I think that is generally what people outside of the tech world probably think of techies, you know, just shove them in a broom closet, they'll crack on a laptop sort of thing. And that's not what it is. You know, everyone enjoys that human contact. And I mean, for me, you know, we have the option of working from home, and I'd hate it. You know, being in an office, being around people, it's more the environment and other people pushing you to do better, to kind of give you the knowledge that I think working from home, it's good. And you know, you're about 5 steps away from a fridge, but equally, you know, you've not got that camaraderie.
Absolutely, I'd agree with that.
So thank you, Gary, for doing this again today. It's been lovely to talk to an Epicor expert. Obviously, Gary is on all social media, and well, so maybe not all social media, but definitely LinkedIn, and you'll be able to find him and Harry and everyone else on GHA Solutions websites.